The Galaxy S21 Ultra is here, and just like we saw Apple do with the iPhone 12 series, Samsung is jumping on the bandwagon with a thinner box, meaning this year you're not getting as many accessories included with the phone in what Samsung says is an effort to help reduce e-waste. Now, there is a lot to be excited about with the phone itself, but first let's see what actually is included in the box, which is a USB-C cable and your typical documentation. And that is it. There are no headphones included, and there isn't a charging brick that you can plug into the wall. But here is the phone itself. We got it in the Phantom Black color, and I've got to say, I really like how this phone looks. We've seen matte black phones before, but this is by far the darkest matte black I have ever seen. Now, the rear panel itself is made out of glass, but the camera housing here is made from metal, and it actually wraps around from the edge of the phone, giving it a much more seamless look than last year's S20 Ultra, where the camera hump on that phone just always looked out of place. So we'll go ahead and remove the many layers of plastic that Samsung always puts on their phones and turn the device on. And while we wait for it to power up, let's talk about the camera, because just by looking at the design, you can tell that that's the big story. You have not 3, but 4 different cameras on this thing. Now, the top one is your 0.5x ultra-wide camera. The middle is your standard 1x at a whopping 108 megapixel resolution. To the right of that is a 3x telephoto lens. And then at the bottom, you have another telephoto lens, but this one is a periscope 10x telephoto lens, meaning it'll let you zoom all the way in and it pretty much extends your eyesight. And then finally, the last sensor on the top is not a camera, but it's a laser autofocus system, which will hopefully address some of the focusing issues that Samsung had with the S20 last year. Under the hood, you have either the Snapdragon 888 processor if you're in countries like the US or Canada, or the Exynos 2100 in most other countries, but both chips are based off of the new 5nm process, so both should be not only faster, but also more power efficient. The next thing I'm really excited about is the new fingerprint scanner, which is nearly twice as big as the one on the S20. Now, I've never really been a fan of in-screen fingerprint scanners because, at least in my opinion, they've taken a step back in terms of both speed and accuracy. But with this year's new fingerprint scanner, that gap may finally close. With it being twice as big, you're less likely to miss it when you put your finger on it, it captures twice the amount of data so it's more accurate, and they even made it 50% faster. Now, it's not all good news with the phone though. Just like with the box, Samsung did remove a couple of features. There's no longer an expandable micro SD slot, so you just have a SIM tray here now, and Samsung also removed MST from the phone, which was the feature where you could pay with your phone even at places that didn't accept Apple Pay or Google Pay. And then last thing worth mentioning with the S21 Ultra is it gets a new display, which Samsung says is up to 16% more efficient than last year's. And when you couple that with the adaptive refresh rate, which changes from 48 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz, you extend battery life even more. So this phone looks like a solid upgrade over last year's S20 Ultra, and it looks like it'll be a strong competitor to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, a phone that is currently sitting not only at the top of our speed test and drop test rankings, but it ranks number 3 overall in our battery test rankings. So I'm really excited to see how the S21 Ultra is going to stack up.